Formula One is about to experience a fan car revolution that could mean big things for the sport. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the fan car revolution and what it could mean for Formula One. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about how this new technology could change the sport. So, I wanted to take a closer look at what's happening and see how it could affect things. So, join me as we take a look at the fan car revolution. This year, the McMurtry Spearling was the one to break the Goodwood Festival of Speed course record. Nick Heidfeld had set the bar at 41.6 seconds in 1999 with the MP4-13, which was McLaren's Formula One car for 1998. Now, there are a lot of things that make the Spearling unique, but the most striking and most noticeable from the outside is the twin fan configuration that decreases the pressure beneath the vehicle to increase traction. In the instance of Goodwood, an abnormally dusty surface resulted in a noticeable rooster tail as the vehicle sped up the hill, enhancing the drama of pure speed. But where did this idea of placing a fan on a vehicle come from? Let's take a look at history. The idea of placing a fan on a vehicle to press it down into the road at high speed and enhance grip is credited to Michel May, who did it in 1956 on struts above the cockpit of his cousin's Porsche 550. Although fans provide an overall benefit, they are inefficient because they produce less downforce at lower speeds and generate more drag at high speeds. In another interesting event, Jim Hall put big fans on his Chaparral 2E Can-Am car in 1966 and on his Chaparral 2F Sports prototype in 1967. When the car was going straight, he changed the angle of the fan to reduce drag. Soon after, the FIA outlawed moving fans, which led Hall to come up with what is still his most radical idea in 1970. The Chaparral 2J was made to compete in the no-holds-barred Can-Am series. It avoided the problems that come with fixed fans by putting two fans on the back of its boxy bodywork to lower the pressure under the car. In 1978, Gordon Murray designed the legendary Brabham BT46B, and it was the time when this device was used second time in the race. This vehicle, designed to overcome the ground effects advantage of the Lotus 79, was surprisingly not inspired by the Chaparral, but rather an experimental cooling system explored by Tyrrell. John Watson, one of only two drivers to race it, remembers those moments with a fierce passion that has not faded despite the passage of 44 years. He considers the BT46B superior to both the Chaparral and the ground effects cars because the maximum downforce was available in the corner where it's required. Watson didn't know what was going to happen in early 1978 until he was the first driver to take the BT46B out for a secret test drive at Brands Hatch. Even though he still feels bad about having done the development donkey work, while Lauda, who was the other driver to drive BT46B, got the credit for it in later testing. It's clear that the response to the car's debut at the Swedish Grand Prix makes up for it in some way. Even though Watson dropped out of the race, Lauda won. However, team principal Bernie Eccleston was thinking about the long term and agreed that the controversial car would not be allowed to race in any more races. After just one race, the BT46B was given up on the altar of paddock unity in the early days of the Formula One Constructors Association. As with the Chaparral, the fan was a moving aerodynamic device, and there were worries that debris would be blasted out the back. After that, Andretti was one of the most vocal people about problems, but Watson says the BT46B was legal, and this was not a big deal. He is still pleased with what the team did with the fan car. Now, the idea of making a car that is light and easy to control is just as important as getting good performance numbers. Now, there are plans to make a limited edition version of the Spearling that can go on the road. But considering F1's current issues, it's tough not to question whether it's finally time for the top tier of racing to incorporate this technology. A lack of reliance on passive aerodynamics would eliminate the issues posed by running in the wake of another automobile. The porpoising problem that has plagued the 2022 season so far has also been resolved. There would be the added benefit of perhaps smaller cars opening up overtaking possibilities on tighter tracks like Monaco. On the other hand, the ability to generate very high cornering forces may have to be limited for safety reasons, and debris still needs to be taken into account, even though filters mean that only fine dust is blown out the back. At least testing could tell for sure once and for all if this is a problem or not. From this, it's clear that the rules would need to be completely changed, not just a line or two changed. This would be a big job, and only time will tell if we get to see this revolution or not. Watson would probably love it if F1 started all over again with the fewest rules possible to let the most creativity happen. This would give the teams the freedom to come up with their own ideas for how to go out as fast as possible and still cross the finish line first. One of these ideas could be to force air out from under the car. But thanks to McMurdy, the fan car is back, no matter where this may or may not lead in the end. And it looks like it's here to stay. So, what do you think? Would you like to see the fan car make a comeback in some form? Let us know in the comments below.